So welcome to another episode of Paul's Asian Adventure. In this video I want to talk about divorce here in the Philippines. It's a hard subject to talk about as it might come off as a bit negative. But better to tell the truth rather than smile and pretend everything is okay and wish it away. Don't you think so? Stay tuned or be doomed. It is said the road to hell is paved with good intentions. Or in this case, the road to feminism hell is paved with laws that are well meant. Currently, a new law is up for debate here in the Philippines. The law that will allow divorce. Yes, you heard it right, divorce here in the Philippines. Now you might think to yourself, what is wrong with divorce? If people are unhappy, the state should let them move on and find happiness. Like I said, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. Let's talk about how this will affect you as a foreigner. But before I start, I would like to ask you to do me a big favor. If you feel this video has brought you knowledge and could be useful to other guys, then please share. And also don't forget to sub if you love, like if you like, and comment if you have something to say, as this really helps me on the YouTube algorithm. Please watch to the end for some advice on how to protect yourself and your assets from this incoming law. With the new divorce law now up for debate in the Filipino House of Representatives, it is looking more and more likely that we will eventually have divorce acceptance in the Philippines. At that point, feminism will slowly but surely encroach on society even more, just as it did in the West under the guise of fairness and of equality. If this law is implemented, it is the beginning of the end of the Philippines that we know and love. Once this law is implemented, and I believe it eventually will be implemented sooner rather than later, the floodgates will open for all kinds of negatives that we see in the West. The first thing you will see is the dynamic of society when it comes to marriage and relationships will change. Women will now have a financial motive to get divorced. Open hypergamy will rear its ugly head, and women will begin to monkey branch looking for the greener grass, as they do in the West. And we see how well that has gone. In the future, you will not only hear about my Filipina stole my house, but rather you will hear how my Filipina stole my house, my 401k, and my car. So yeah, once this law gets implemented, it will get a lot worse. So watch to the end to see how you can protect yourself. To understand what will happen in the Philippines, we only need to look at the West and see what is happening. The same type of behavior will slowly but surely snake its way into society. So let's look at what is happening in the West, in family courts. There you will see men who have given everything, and I mean everything. Men that have worked 60 to 80 hours a week to provide for their families, be treated as second-class citizens, losing half their assets or more, and being a weekend dad, or losing total access to their kids and assets due to false accusations. It's not like a woman needs to prove anything anymore in the West. A simple accusation is enough to destroy a man. A man in the West is assumed guilty unless he can prove otherwise. If you think for a minute that this will not eventually happen in the Philippines, I got news for you. It absolutely will. Filipinas are wonderful women, but that is not something they are born with. It is due to the social construct here in the Philippines. Take that away and give them a financial benefit to misbehave, and watch their default behavior slowly but surely change to what we see in the West. All you really have to do to understand this dynamic is see what happens to the majority of Filipinas when they move to the West. I did a video on this called "Do Not Move Her to the West." See the link below and watch it after this video to get a better understanding. The first thing you will see is that the dynamic of society when it comes to marriage and relationship will change. Women will now have a financial motive to get divorced, and some of these women can have a huge payday, as they do in the West. Not only will there be more family splits, but I'm sure alimony and other feminist way of transferring resources from men to women will eventually be implemented under the guise of fairness and equality of outcome, blah blah blah. You've heard the spiel before. But wait, you say these Filipinas can't afford a lawyer, which is true. Well, then let's talk about what will probably happen with an example. And this is taken from the divorce playbook in the USA. So to start off with, lawyers will become ambulance chasers, or in this case, divorce chasers. So let's take an example where a girl is married to, let's say, a foreigner, and this foreigner has a condo, a car, and other assets here in the Philippines worth, let's say, 20 million pesos. She will now have a right to 50% of those assets. In the US, many women don't have money to hire lawyers. However, lawyers will work the divorce for free and take part of the settlement. And let's say this woman gets 50% as it is required by law. So basically she's getting 10 million. The lawyer will get, let's say, an agreed upon 30%. So in this case it would be 3 million pesos or $60,000. What lawyer is not going to chase that kind of money here in the Philippines? And how long after the first case with a big payout is plastered all over the news before girls start talking among themselves about the big payday they will encounter soon? Hell, we don't even have to wait till our husbands die. We can get it all now. Why wouldn't they? Don't be naive. Watch to the end to protect yourself. So now we're going to get a new industry that will grow, divorce lawyers, that will typically push couples to fight so that they can get their payday. I mean, look at the USA. Divorce is an industry upon itself with powerful allies in the judiciary and Congress. To get a better understanding, please watch Divorce Corp on Netflix. Then you'll understand the depth and width of corruption when it comes to family law in the USA. Now, does that mean it will happen in the Philippines? Well, I say once you implement divorce, you're kind of opening the floodgates ever so slightly. And sooner or later, that stream pressure will be so strong that the floodgates will burst open. Remember, money is a very strong motivator. Hell, people will kill for it, die for it. So why not just get a divorce for it? So yes, in my opinion, slowly but surely, the Philippines will trend in the same direction as in the West once this law is implemented. I pray to God I'm wrong, but I fear I'm right on this one, guys. So far I've spoken about how dangerous the law is for men, but let's address what it will do for most women. It will enrich a few, yes, but what are the long-term consequences for women and relationships or marriage? So this might actually sound like the law is good for women, but in general, it is not. Men here, just like in the West, at least the smart ones, and especially the top-notch guys that women want, these guys will start avoiding marriage like the plague. Red pill awareness will become more and more prevalent, and women here in the Philippines will find themselves asking, where have all the good men gone? As they do in the West. Well, hell, we're all here in the Philippines, right? Listen, when you say you're a Christian following God's law, then go to church and swear in front of God and church, till death do us part. It should be just that. And if you break your promise to God and church, you sure as hell, sorry the word, but should not be rewarded financially for it. The consequences for disintegration of the core family are enormous. Look at the USA and the statistics there. I'll give you some here. and this might make one understand the consequences. I put a link to where I got the statistics from below. 80% of all prisoners in the US come from single family homes. And single family homes in the US is mostly mothers. 90% of all runaway teens come from single family homes. 63% of youth suicides come from single family homes. 70% of all teens come from single family homes. 90% of welfare recipients are single mothers. 90%. Guys that come from single family homes are 14 times more likely to commit rape. So those are some scary statistics. So basically, guys, I hope this law doesn't come to fruition, because a core family is so important for society. So I come to the end part of this video, and the absolutely most important part. So how do you protect yourself? Well, the simple solution is don't get married. And if you are already married, talk to a certified Filipino lawyer on post-nup or waiver, as I believe they call it here. Remember this as an example. In Thailand, also a Southeast country, divorce is allowed, and divorce is 40% there. So protect yourself. Contact a Filipino lawyer. Get a post-nup, a prenup, waiver, whatever you need to. Talk to the lawyer about your rights, about how to protect yourself financially. Just remember, with age gap relationships, divorce rate is higher. And if the love is gone in your marriage, well, the next step for her is a payday she could only dream about, and soon to be a reality. So like we say in boxing, protect yourselves at all times. So remember this, most Filipinos will not do this to their partners, but you just never know if you are the unlucky one. Just like most parachutes will open, but hell, that's why you have a reserve parachute, right? Your post-nup, your prenup. Or as in a car, we have a safety belt, but we're not really expecting to crash every time we drive, but we wear that safety belt in case something bad happens. So again, guys, protect yourselves at all times. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to share, as this video is, I believe, very important for men, either living in the Philippines or considering moving here. Comment and tell me how or if you will protect yourself from this law that might be coming.